On July 10, 2016, DNC staffer Seth Rich was murdered in Washington, D.C. Was Rich the source who provided Wikileaks with DNC's internal emails? Some have speculated this was the reason for his murder. If true, what becomes of the mantra, Russia did it? We do know that Assange over at Wikileaks commented on this. A 27-year-old was murdered in Washington. Why would he do that? Or, to be fair to everybody and our viewers, maybe he was covering up his tracks for the real source. I don't know. Go ahead, Alex.
Look, I think Assange definitely added some weight to this investigation by noting that there was a 27-year-old DNC staffer that was the source of the leaks. When Assange did that back in August, it drew the attention of a lot of people as to this whole investigation for the Seth Rich murder. Now, fast forward to today, and you had this PI, Rob Wheeler, Rod Wheeler, right, who literally stated that there was a high official, a high source at the Democratic Party who was snooping around and asking the police as to how far he had gotten with his investigation. Now, the other day, Wheeler decided to expose who that person was, and that person was Donna Brazile. So now you have Donna Brazile in the middle of this investigation that's going on, and she's trying to figure out how far this private investigation has gotten. So you have a lot of people in the mix now that are adding weight to this Seth Rich murder. So while you do have a lot of circumstantial evidence here, the case is picking up a lot of steam, and I want to point out that it's picking up a lot of steam without any of the mainstream media focusing on the case. So it's really being driven by the internet, by alternative media, and the Google searches are showing that the Seth Rich case actually has more interest than the Comey case. So people are indeed interested to find the truth.
Okay, I saw Hank in New York was dissenting, and this is the point of the program. Go ahead real quick, Hank, and then I will go to H.A. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Donna Brazile probably had a comment about whether she had a drippy nose that day, and Assange probably had a comment about how nice it was outside or wasn't. What does that have to do with facts? We're talking about facts. A young man was murdered. The family has asked people to stop this craziness. He's 27 years old. How high up on the food chain could he have been at the Democratic National Committee? Are we kidding? Is this a joke?
Well, I mean,
it's completely irrelevant. It's not relevant.
H.A., go ahead in Los Angeles.
The issue is evidence that a person, a world-renowned figure named Kim.com, is willing to testify on. So what are people afraid of? What is Oliver Darcy at CNN or Dave Weigel at the Washington Post afraid of? What are these Democratic strategists afraid of? You simply have a world-renowned figure named Kim.com willing to testify under oath, spoke to a legal team. So how many conspiracy theories do you have where a person speaks to a legal team, is willing to say, yes, Seth Rich worked with me, he was a WikiLeaks source, I have the evidence, I'm willing to present it to special counsel Mueller under oath with the penalty of perjury? What is the problem with at least giving Kim.com a chance to present his evidence? The entire Russia probe is based on circumstantial evidence where when James Clapper or Dianne Feinstein is asked, do you have a check from Trump that he wrote to a Russian hacker? No one has any direct evidence.
From what I understand, Seth wasn't just some functionary at the DNC. Was he something more than that?
No, he was, you know, the media has been presenting him as a staffer, but he was actually a data analyst, and he was in charge of a lot of the voter system. So this is someone that knew his way around computers. This is someone that would easily be able to understand the significance of the data that he was taking from the DNC, and he was also someone who would understand how to provide that data to WikiLeaks. So we really need to know exactly what Seth Rich's position was at the DNC, and if indeed he was the person that passed on the information to WikiLeaks. And it's extremely important because this narrative, this story, runs in parallel with the entire Russiagate fake news story, which was concocted by Hillary Clinton and Robbie Mook and John Podesta. So if this turns out to be true, that Seth Rich was indeed the leaker, it literally blows apart. It blows apart the entire fake news of the Russiagate narrative. That's why this story is so extremely important, and that's why I think a lot of the mainstream media is not touching it. They have orders not to touch it. They don't want to touch it. They don't want to dig deeper into it.
Okay, Hank, in New York, Hank, go ahead. Go ahead, Hank.
So far, there's not a case. So far, there's nothing. So far, there's an investigation. Case implies that there's a judicial proceeding that's going to occur. We don't know that. We don't know what any of this means, and I'll feel much better, and I think everybody ought to have their moment in the sun, but I'll feel much better when the FBI interviews whoever they want to interview about Seth Rich at the time that it's appropriate. This is a longer issue that's going on for some time. Is it fake news? Well, the FBI will tell us and Mueller will tell us. That's not the question here. The question is a conspiracy theory that implicates people that, frankly, also got implicated in Ron Brown. It never happened. It never happened.
Yep. Okay, but
these things don't happen.
H.A.,
nobody's there on killing people.
H.A., jump in here. There was some kind of criminal investigation. I hope it was a murder after all. Go ahead, H.A.
Yeah. For the D.C. police.
The FBI requested the DNC's computer servers numerous times. Yep. The FBI requested the DNC's computer servers numerous times. The DNC refused each and every request. I have a petition that's over 6,000 signatures to get the DNC to give its computer servers to the FBI. So you want to talk about a conspiracy theory? Why did the DNC not give its computer servers to the FBI if they claim that Russia hacked the DNC?
Do you have a copy? Do you have a copy of the subpoena served on the Democratic National Committee?
Are you calling James Comey a liar? Are you calling James Comey a liar? James Comey stated
do you have a copy of the search warrant?
The FBI asked for Are you calling James Comey a liar? I don't think so. James Comey stated that the FBI asked for the DNC's computer servers. That's a fact. The DNC refused each and every request.
They asked for them for what? You will have no argument here that the mainstream media has in many cases not been fair to Donald Trump. But this discussion of Seth Rich seems to me to be an attempt to try to take attention away from what the FBI may or may not be looking at. This young man sadly had a very bad day, and it ended with his life being taken away. I mean, but to make him a figure in a conspiracy of this kind just defies logic right now. We don't have enough evidence to prove that.
There's not enough information
about it.
Go ahead.
Got shot.
He's not a
That's
figure.
Terrible.
Go ahead, H.A.
Nobody is stating categorically that Hillary Clinton shot Seth Rich herself. The issue is if he was a WikiLeaks source, then it's likely linked. His death is likely linked to the Democratic Party. That is not some kind of vast right-wing conspiracy theory. This is a progressive issue. Seth Rich was a Bernie Sanders supporter. He loved Bernie Sanders. He was shot twice in the back in a botched robbery. Nothing was taken. The investigator, his credibility, Rod Wheeler's credibility has been bolstered exponentially because Kim.com said essentially that Rod Wheeler was correct. Kim.com has evidence. The reluctance of people at the Washington Post, the fear, the palpable fear, and they're petrified. They don't want to know what Kim.com has in terms of evidence.